Current baddest man on the planet, Francis Ngannou, made his first title defense last month against the much-fancied Frenchman Ciryl Gane. The Cameroonian outpointed the hard-hitting Gane over 5 rounds, but all is not well in the relationship between Ngannou and the UFC's decision-makers, and there have been claims that he might not sign a new deal. Today, we're talking about what might be next for Francis Ngannou, so stay with us. First up, what's the problem between Ngannou and the UFC? After Ngannou's phenomenal rise through the UFC's heavyweight ranks, he was given a title shot against then-incumbent Stipe Miocic back in 2018, which ended in the Big African being totally outclassed and gassing out after the second round. Miocic kept him on the outside in the earlier rounds, and when he had wore him out, took him down and dominated him on the ground. This performance was the spark that led to the feud between Ngannou and UFC president Dana White, after White had told Ngannou it was his own fault, as he had let his ego get out of control. Ngannou was then involved in one of the worst heavyweight fights of all time with Derrick Lewis, which did nothing to smooth over his relationship with White. After this, he appeared to get his act together, winning 4 fights in a row via first-round KO, but was angered at the fact he had to wait in line for a rematch with Stipe. Ngannou further incurred the wrath of White after questioning how much UFC fighters get paid in relation to their boxing counterparts. He made reference to the fact that Logan Paul, a YouTuber, was paid dramatically more than professional UFC fighters are paid for his bout with Floyd Mayweather last year. Ngannou also revealed that during his earlier fights, he had to borrow money to pay for camps and sparring partners. Unbelievable, really. What do you make of Francis and Dana's beef? Let us know below. Let's talk Jon Jones now. Stay tuned. Arguably the greatest fighter ever to grace the UFC octagon, Jon Jones would more than likely prove Ngannou's toughest test to date. Jones, who won the title as a 23-year-old back in 2011 after knocking out Mauricio Shogun Rua, is currently undefeated. Well, kind of. He was disqualified after an illegal elbow against Matt Hamill in 2009, but a lot of people have questioned this decision. In his title win against Rua, he opened the fight with a flying knee, which as a 22-year-old against a legend of the game who was also the title holder is pretty insane. Jones has spent the entirety of his career at light heavyweight, but signaled his intention to fight at heavyweight a couple of years ago, after he revealed photos of a new, bulked-up version of himself in training. The American hasn't fought for a couple of years, since he defeated his UFC light heavyweight title against Dominic Reyes, and some people have questioned whether an immediate title fight for Jones at heavyweight is the right move, especially considering the current title holder is the hardest puncher the UFC has ever seen in Ngannou. A fight between these two, however, would be one of the biggest in the history of the promotion, not just the heavyweight division, and we believe if the powers that be could figure out a deal for this one, then Ngannou's worries over fighter pay would surely be allayed. And how about a rematch with Stipe Miocic, who is the most successful heavyweight champion of all time, defending his title no less than 4 times over 2 different stints as champion, can maybe feel himself a little hard done by not getting an instant rematch with Ngannou after being knocked out last March. The American, who prides himself on his Croatian heritage, hasn't fought since relinquishing his title to the big Cameroonian, and with Ngannou still undecided on his immediate future, could a rematch be in the works? Miocic would certainly deserve another shot at his old belt and would relish the chance to become a 3-time heavyweight champion. Shortly after winning the title last spring, Ngannou said he didn't think the Stipe trilogy was necessary, but he would do it if needed. We think Stipe probably has a differing opinion on what's needed in the heavyweight division, but he might have to get past someone like Tai Tuivasa in a title eliminator first. Tuivasa is on an absolute tear at the moment, and most recently knocked out the ever-dangerous Derrick Lewis a couple of weeks ago, who holds that win over Ngannou we spoke of earlier. Stipe should not have to convince anyone of his merits to fight for the title again. However, and if the rematch was booked tomorrow, nobody should be surprised as he boasts the deepest, most impressive records of anyone in the heavyweight division. What do you make of the Stipe rematch? Let us know below. And how about a return to his roots? Stay tuned to hear all about it. Back in Cameroon as a youngster, Francis Ngannou once harbored dreams of making it as a professional boxer, and even trained to become a professional boxer for around a year back in his native land. An illness put paid to any ideas of turning pro, and he soon moved to France to pursue a new life. But Francis has once again recently been making noises about having at least one professional boxing fight. His current conflict with the UFC in regards to his contract means his dreams of actually boxing professionally could be a more realistic target than people actually realize. The Predator is known to be unhappy at the terms of his current deal, and the UFC faces the very real prospect of losing the heavyweight king after his current deal expires once he defends his title again. Boxing would also also allow Ngannou to cash in on his current status as baddest man on the planet, and just one fight in boxing's heavyweight division would almost certainly eclipse all of his UFC earnings put together so far. Current heavyweight king Tyson Fury has suggested he wouldn't mind welcoming Ngannou to professional boxing and said recently, "I'm going to fight Francis Ngannou in Las Vegas next year, in March or February. There's been no talks this year because I've got some boxing to do, but next year we can have some crazy fights. It's a massive fight. I believe it breaks all pay-per-view records in the United States. Two heavyweight champions going head-to-head? That one was a mouth-watering prospect indeed." What about BKFC then? Stick around. BKFC is making a big splash in the combat sports world right now and even has a few former UFC fighters on their roster. The Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship has guys like Mike Perry, Artem Lobov, and Chris Leben amongst its ranks, and founder of the promotion, David Feldman, has his eyes on an even bigger signing, Francis Ngannou. Feldman is closely monitoring the situation between Ngannou and the UFC in regards to the big man's new contract, and if he does become a free agent next year, he's ready to pounce. He promised to do all he can to bring the Cameroonian to the promotion, and he told Ariel Helwani's MMA Hour this week, "I'm not sure if he's out of that window yet, but we're definitely making a play for him. At that stage, you're talking about money, right? And if we can get back that kind of money up, we're in the game. I don't think we're out of the game for anything right now, to be honest with you. We have a good partner that we just partnered with that likes to think outside the box, likes to disrupt things as we do, and I think that there's a great opportunity for us to get the biggest and best names out there." BKFC has just partnered with Triller, who are known to spend big to get the fighters they want, and Feldman believes that with their backing, Ngannou is a realistic target, a definite watch this space situation. And finally, Francis himself has provided a little update on his current contract status. As fight fans the world over all know, Ngannou has been looking to renegotiate his contract for some time, and this week he's spoken out about the situation via his own YouTube channel. He told fans that he has to look after himself and do what's best for him, which is absolutely fair enough. Fighting is a short career, so he has to cash in while he can. He went on to say that there are a lot of things in his contract he doesn't like, which he would like to change. He went on to put the UFC on blast by saying they claim to provide 3 fights for their fighters every year, but pointed out the fact that he's only been out twice in the past 2 years. He then said he could easily have fought 5 times in that period before claiming it was a ploy by the UFC to freeze him financially, to force him into a corner. There's also been talk that lawyers and courts might get involved, so we'll have to monitor this one closely. What do you make of Francis's contract predicament? Let us know below. And as always, thanks for joining us today, and remember to like and share our video. If you haven't already subscribed, just click the subscribe button, and remember to stop by next time. Bye guys.